at the all-new A-Class Sedan, which has recently been launched from Mercedes-Benz. So it's been about, what, 2 years has it been since we filmed some videos? Everybody now thinks they're a YouTuber, which of course we started the trend for, so thought we may as well come back and show everyone how it's done. Today we're going to be looking at the all-new A-Class Sedan, which has recently been launched from Mercedes-Benz. Really exciting car. We have one here today in the showroom. Comes in lots of different engines, lots of different specifications. We are now digital, so I can show you what all the different spec options you can get on the car. So yeah, really excited to be back, and let's go through the car. A little bit of information about the engines that come in this car. Wholly appropriate that I have the bonnet up, pretending that I know about all this technical stuff underneath. So it comes in petrol, it comes in diesel, and a bit of a preview is that the A45 is also out as well. I'll give you a bit more information on that in a second. So it comes in, as I said, petrol and diesel, starting off in a 180 diesel. We have the same equivalent also in a 180 petrol. We have a 1.4 diesel and we have a 1.3 petrol, going up into a 1.9 and a 1. Fill this with some light music if you'd like, please. Going up to the A35 engine, which is actually also a 2-litre petrol engine. Now, in terms of the model lines that you'll be familiar with Mercedes-Benz, this follows the same kind of theme. We have an AMG line, we have a Sport, and we have an SE. We'll go through more of the details on that later, but just be sure to know, as I mentioned before, the A45 is now out for order. You can now secure that car, and of course we have the A35 as well. Let's go and see inside. Okay, so let's start with the infamous key, which in nearly all of my videos I managed to get upside down. So let's see if for once I can get it right. So the key has now changed to a lovely matte colour, which you can see here. Lovely, splendid matte black. We have your close button, you got it right, and your open button here. And of course you press and hold this button here to open the boot. Now, a couple of things about the key, which I have been over before, but just to reiterate, if you press the little button on the back here, and then the blade will slide out. This will allow you to lock your glove box if you've got anything nice and safe you want to keep hidden away in there. And also, if for some reason you ever needed to get in from the car outside, you can also unlock the key with that. I can't get it back in, so I'm just going to fiddle for a couple of seconds, and there we go. Yeah, look at that, like magic. So, okay, a couple of things that come standard on all of these A-Class, which you really need to know about. So the first one is it comes standard with a DAB radio, digital audio broadcasting. I am a digital genius for knowing what it stands for. So that is standard on all A-Class. The second thing that is standard on all the videos is called MBUX, which is called Hey Mercedes. She's probably going to start talking to me now, has she? No, not yet. Okay, I was speaking fast enough for her to ignore me. So we've recently been to Germany on our Euro training, where we went to the beautiful Dresden, and we learned all about these fabulous brand new cars. But we were also told that 80% of all buying decisions are made by women. Oh yes, that's because we make the best decisions, that is why. And that is why actually we went for a female voice on our system on the cars. So let's see what she can do. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help you?
What is the weather like today?
The outside temperature is 23 degrees Celsius.
Well, there she is. It's just like having a miniature me walking around, giving me all the information I need to know. So that is standard on all of the Mercedes A-Class. Now, a little few bits there of the other kind of things you can do. You can ask her to navigate you to McDonald's. You can ask her to put the heat to your feet if your feet are cold whilst you're driving. You can ask her to change the inside colour of your ambient lighting. There literally is an endless list of the things that you can do. I won't continue to demonstrate in case I'm speaking too fast like I always do, but that was just a small example. You can actually even tell her to tell you a joke. If your day is that dismal, she will be there for you. Okay, so something else which is standard on all of the cars. This is an amazing safety feature, and it's called Active Lane Assist. Now, Active Lane Assist is a feature on all of the Mercedes A-Class. And what happens is, if you are driving along the road at 37 miles per hour, it becomes active. You will get a little green icon come on the dash, which we'll show you shortly just here. That once the icon turns green, that means it's active. If you're driving along and if you start to drift, you're not paying attention, falling asleep, tiredness, etc. And if you drift off to the left, and if it's a dotted white line, for example, say you're on a slip road, and if you drift over without indicating, the steering wheel will start to vibrate. That is a safety feature, and it basically means that you need to start veering right back into your lane, and it'll wake you up. If you actually go over a solid line, so say for example you were on a motorway driving straight ahead and the motorway had the white straight line on the left hand side, or if you were in the outside lane and you went over the right hand white line, really getting confusing here, then at that point the car would actually brake. So dotted line, the steering wheel will vibrate to give you some attention, and if it's a solid white line then it will brake as an even better safety precaution. How absolutely amazing is that? That has never been a standalone feature that has come standard on Mercedes-Benz before, so this really is pioneering some more safety aspects for the car there. And if that wasn't enough as things that come standard on this car, all Mercedes-Benz A-Class come as standard with sat-nav. I think she's going to try and talk to me again. I think because I said the word, there she is. So just as a final reiteration of that, all the cars come with DAB radio, all of them come with active lane assist as standard, all of them come with sat-nav as standard, and they also come with the wonderful Hey Mercedes. Door cassette wise, it's a very similar setup to most of our other cars. We have our heated seats over here, central locking, automatic locking of course when you drive off, and if you need to let your mate in after they've been to Mackey's, you can press the button. McDonald's for those people who aren't Scousers, then you can press the button and let them in. It's got electric windows front and rear. Again, you've got the safety aspect in the rear where you can lock your rear windows if you want to with the button here, if you've got children in the rear, dogs, etc. And your electric mirrors left and right. You've also got a button here as well to open the boot should you need to from the inside as well. Okay, so coming over to this beautiful dash, couple of things I had to go over on this which come as standard on the Mercedes A-Class. Can I just say before we go any further, the specification that you get on these cars is so high. We really are a market leader. The Mercedes-Benz A-Class, it really is a market leader. And if you're driving the older A-Class and you're interested in upgrading, what you get now is so much more for your money. So we just want to go over a few more things. So this beautiful dash that you see here is standard. The dual twin display, it's a digital screen, it's touch screen as well, but we'll be going over into that in a moment. It's a 7-inch display on either side, which you now get as standard, so it's not the larger 10, but you get a dual display, digital, 7-inch on either side. So that's 14 inches of digitalness that you're getting in your car. The steering wheel, of course, is a beautiful leather steering wheel, sports steering wheel as well on this particular car. And as always, I'm just going to go over some of the main benefits and features that you get over here. So over here you have your fog light button, nice and accessible as you're driving, and you also have the dimming switch here as well for your display if you're driving at night. So anyone that can't find it, it's here. Automatic headlights, standard now on most Mercedes-Benz. As I said before about the key, actually, really nice matte finish display, really modern, really appeals to the young market. I've got loads of my fingerprints all over this lovely high gloss finish. Your handbrake now, it's an electric handbrake, as is with most Mercedes, but it's nice, it's a little bit higher, which I think is actually in a much better place, more ergonomically designed for whilst you're driving, so it's just up here. Make sure you don't forget it. Because also for insurance purposes, just a little tip here, I have been asked this before, yes, we do have an electric handbrake, but for your insurance you still need to actually put it on to make sure that you are putting on your handbrake as well when you park up, so just press the button on over there. And we have your parking lights, which have been over in many videos, but just to reiterate, because it's been a while, if you leave the little dial here pulled over to the top arrow, that will illuminate all of the right hand side of the car if you're leaving your car parked on a dark lane or street at night, and if you pop it over to the left, it will illuminate the left hand side of the car if you're parked with that side of the car showing. So I'll just put that back so don't get shouted at by the guys that look after the showroom. So gear shift wise, very similar to what you've seen on Mercedes-Benz before. By the way, you can get automatic and manual now. You can only get the automatic though in the diesel. You can get automatic and manual in the petrol. So yeah, this is your gear shift here. It's the same as on other Mercedes. It's a lot slimmer now though than it used to be, which I think is a better design. So it's up into reverse. It's beeping because there's people behind us. Honestly, I'm not going to drive. It's down into drive, which you will see there. And then it's press the silver button on the end to park up. And as I mentioned before, do not forget to put your handbrake back on, and then you'll get your P coming up on the dash. So just to reiterate, up into reverse, down into drive, and press the button on the end to go back into park, and then make sure you put your handbrake back on. So over to the steering wheel. You've got now two digital little thumbprint controls on either side of the steering wheel. Again, really ergonomic for when you're driving. You're not looking across the steering wheel for different buttons. this side of the steering wheel controls your right hand display, and this side controls your left. So if you just bear that in mind whilst you're driving, right for right, left for left, even simple people like myself can understand that, so that's totally fine. Okay, so let's go over the buttons we have here then. With the benefit of this, you can change it to so many different things. You can see your average fuel consumption, you can see how many miles you've done from start as your eco display. You can flick it if you want to go into your sat nav, which is a really good straight in your line of sight to be able to see where you're going, in addition to having your big screen on here. This car, by the way, is actually that popular. We've got customers looking around it while we video it, so obviously because we're such professionals, we're able to just flow with that at the same time. Going over here into your sat nav, as I said, you can scroll that down. You can see your G-force, how fast the car is going. Now come on, we are basically now designing space shuttles as A-Class, so you can see the G-force in how fast you're driving the car. Just going to scroll over to the middle. Again, as I was saying before, you can see your trip on there if you want to, how many miles you've done. You can change over it into a different full screen display. And over onto the left, again, you can scroll through. You've got a clock, a nice design clock there if you want to see a clock instead. How many miles per gallon you've done, and how many miles from reset. Again, it's quite similar, the different menus you can see in all the different three. So if you found that I was repeating myself a bit there in terms of what goes on what side, it's just because you can change whichever menu basically you want to see. Now this is a nifty little bit which I like. If you press the home button, it brings up a series of menus on the screen, which you can then scroll through to access your telephone, your navigation, your trip menu. Those of you who are logging business miles, that's really handy for you to get your miles per gallon. Your radio, of course, which as I said before, is DAB, don't forget that. Your media, so if you listen to your phone, if you listen to, well, CDs don't even exist anymore actually. I was born in an era of CDs. I have hundreds of them at home, which will probably never do anything. Do they even make CD players anymore? I don't think so. This is the bit that I like anyway, that I was coming on to. Styles and display. If you press into that, you can click on classic and change the colour to like a light understated blue. You can go to the one, wrong button. If you want, you can go to, scroll back again, Rebecca, I'm back. You can go to sport, which is the one that we had it on before, which is a bit yellowy blacky. If I'm honest, that's not my favourite. That's like a bumblebee, which isn't really what I'd prefer. On my car, which I'm driving an E-Class at the moment, I usually go actually for the classic because I like the blue. Or you can go for this understated, which is just very, very minimal for you minimalistic people. And that's all it shows really, so not really a lot of information, but if you want to have that, you can. So just for my purposes, because I'm being purely selfish because I'm filming the video, we're going to keep it in classic because I like the blue. So there we go. So let's go through some of the other buttons on the steering wheel here and what they relate to. So coming down to over here, you've got your reset and your cancel button. This is for if you're using your cruise control, which you'll be pleased to know is standard on this car. You also have on here as well a limiter as well. So if you knock the dial up, it will go into your cruise control. We're not driving at the course at the moment because we're in the showroom. If I was driving around in the showroom, I'd probably be getting into trouble. So we're not driving at the moment, but if you press it up, cruise control will activate. And then if you knock it down, your limiter will activate. So that's just for you there. To set the speed up or down, you just toggle up and down on here. So that's the main things from the right hand side. So the right hand side, as I said, controls up here. Something I'm just going to show you actually with regards to what we were going through on the little toggle menu. If you pop into service, it will tell you if there's any messages on your car. So say for example, if you have a flat tyre, it will come up, or if you have a low pressure on your tyre, it will come up. If there's any issues with your coolants or anything like that, your engine oil level, you can go through all of those menus and it will flag up and tell you. It will actually let you know when you get in the car that there's a message. It will say on your dash one message and it will tell you what it is. So that's really handy to know. So bear that in mind. Something else as well, which I've just remembered. There's a new feature now on Mercedes-Benz. I'll need to double check if it's standard on this car, but my source of information waiting behind the car will tell me shortly. Your car will actually tell you if it's been involved in an accident whilst it's been parked. So say for example you're in the supermarket, not to name anyone in particular because we're not affiliated, but if you were to go to a supermarket and if you were to park your car and if someone was to bang into your car and then run off and not tell you, the car when you get in will actually tell you what time the car was involved in a collision. It will come up with collision warning and it will tell you at what time that happens. You'll be able to go back into said supermarket and ask for their CCTV to find that naughty person that ran away and did not tell you about damaging your car. Fountain of all knowledge, bit of information there. So coming over to this side of the dash now, left hand side, left hand screen. A lot of the information that you get on here is duplicated with the information you can get on the toggle menu I told you about before, so your radio, your media, etc, etc. But this is of course touchscreen, which is fabulous. Don't be messing around with this while you're driving, of course. You know, this is only for stationary. Other than that, I'd probably say to use the steering wheel. But you've got your phone, you can connect, I think it's up to 7 phones now, so most of us tend to have 2 phones now, work, personal. So you can set those up. I'll show you how to do that. Same process as before. If you're on an iPhone, make sure you're in your Bluetooth screen. If you're not in your Bluetooth screen, it won't find it. So you have to go into settings, Bluetooth on, and stay in that screen to be able to find it. Other phones, you don't need to do that, but on an iPhone you do. Navigation, very easy to enter, same as before. Full digit postcode, which is useful. Radio, lots of different stations. Media. Now comfort, this is a good one. Really, really good one. So you can change your ambient lighting. Now the amount of colours that we have on the car, I think it's 64, maybe 74 now actually. It was 64. I usually go for multicolour, and I tend to get the pinky blues, just the kind of colours that I like. But if you toggle through this and see all the different things you can get, you can also add on welcome and climate lighting. So these turbo are actually designed to look like the engines on a jet. So that's why they look like this, so that it's to remind you of the power behind an aeroplane, and that's why they look like that. They're actually turbo jets, so nifty, another bit of information. And yeah, when it's cold they'll be blue, and when it's warm they'll go red. So that's a really good bit of information for you there. And when you're welcome, when you come in the car, you can have it to be any colour you want when you get in. Again, pinky blue for me, but you can pick what you want. So yeah, you can set that up to anything that you want. Nifty little way of changing everything. Information we spoke about before. Just if there's any information which you need to go about the car, this is because the engine's switched off, but it'll tell you about your fuel consumption, etc, etc, and how many miles you're using. Settings. Now this is where you can control all different things in the car. Your vehicle, you can change the lights, the acoustic lock. A lot of people like their car to beep when you lock the car. Most people actually, you'll find if you're buying the car, it's getting delivered to you from maybe a leasing company or something, they tend to come with that already activated. Some people like that to lock when you lock your car. You don't have to, but you can deactivate that here if you want to. Your surround lighting, which comes and projects out, you turn that on here, so just turn that on now, so that will display a nice light onto the floor. Looks extra nifty when you're coming up to your car. Exterior delay light shut off. It's a safety feature for when you're at home. Once you've locked the car, it'll leave on the car for up to 60 seconds, the lights, so it'll just make you safe feel into your home if it's dark at night. So yeah, lots of different things in here. And again, you can control the styles of display, which we saw over there. So we're inside the car now, and I want to show you a little bit more in depth as to the dash itself. You've got some good information outside, but just to actually give you a little bit more information on the 7-inch display that we have to the left over here. So as I said before, it's touch screen, so you can scroll through all of these different menus yourself. If you scroll up, you can also then go into themes, so you've got trip, experience, efficiency. These basically are different settings that you can have on the car. Rebecca, it would help if you turn the engine on. So yeah, there we go, engine switched on. Basically what it will do is it goes into the information on the car itself, so the engine, your fuel consumption, the vehicle itself as well. These are all really good things for people who are concerned with how fuel efficient they are, the carbon footprint, and just how efficient our cars really are. If you go up into themes again, you can go into lounge. This is where you'll be able to enter entertainment and stuff like that if you want to listen to your radio, etc, etc. Experience. If you go into this setting here, this will go into how fast the car is driving, the engine output, the torque, exactly how much you get in your brake horsepower against how much torque the car's producing. So really good bit of information for all you petrol heads out there. As I said, there's loads of different themes that you can scroll through. If you scroll down one more, you can also then go through your favourites. So you can set up your favourites by accessing the steering wheel here, which is the star, or by just scrolling through your settings here. For example, if you go into sound, you can set up your bass, your mid, your treble, your balance and your fader. So if you're somebody that more often than not sits in the front, you can fade it to be at the front, and your volume as well if you want. You can set that to automatically adjust to where the person's sitting or not. So as I said before, what you get for standard on these cars now is so high tech. It really is amazing. So coming down to the dash, these are those turbines I was telling you about before. Your start stop button is now on the left hand side. It used to be on the right. It's on the left now, and there's no button you can pull out anymore, so that's now on the left. Again, a little bit easier with if you do get into the car and if you have your key in your hand, just put it out the way and press your stop button over here. So to come down to the centre, this familiar lineup is what we're used to in all Mercedes-Benz, but the buttons are just a lot nicer if I say so myself. So you've got your temperature here, up and down, which correlates with what you can see. Now I'm hoping you got to see those colours there. Can you see those coming through slightly? Red. We've got a lot of lighting in this car for the video, but can you see there it's gone to blue? And that's because I've now put it cold. So yeah, that's your up and down temperature if you want that there. And as I set up before for you about the lights, that's now set up to correlate with your lights. Sync, what this will do is this will set your temperature for driver and passenger. So as you can see now, I'm changing it and it's changing on the left and right. If I take the sync button off and if I just change this side, it will only change mine, and my passenger can then change their own as much as they want to as well if they're too hot. I always have the argument in my house over who's hot and who's cold, and I'm always cold. So yeah, aircon rest, this is a good button. So say for example you're leaving your dog in the car, you're popping into the supermarket, or you're leaving your child in the car, you're running into the shop, you're leaving your husband, wife in the car while you pop into the shop, whatever. Once you turn the engine off, if you press this button here, the light will come on and it will use the residual heat from the engine to either keep the car cold or keep the car warm. So that's just something to bear in mind there. This button, done this in all of my videos, but again, one which I still get asked all the time, so still really important. If you're driving into a tunnel and if you have your windows open, if you press and hold this button, it will close all of the windows in the car and just circulate the air within the vehicle. And then as you come out of the tunnel and all those toxic fumes are gone, press and hold it again and it'll put the windows back to where they were, so stop any arguments with the kids in the back. Your rear button here for of course your rear demister, very self-explanatory. Warning lights, front demister for the front window. Auto, what this will do if you press this button here, it will keep the temperature at the same consistent temperature throughout the cabin that you've set it to on here, even if the windows are open. Force of speed, up and down. I've now turned it off, clever Rebecca. And this one here is your distribution of air and airflow, which you can see correlating with up there. So that's your buttons there. Now just to come down to the centre, got a twin cup holder here. For those of you who like your coffee or tea in the morning, keep it there without spillaging. You can then take this out. That's a little extra control there for the smaller cup. And this can of course be lifted out as well if you need to make sure that you can clean afterwards. Just put those away. Something that comes as standard with all Mercedes-Benz, the new cars. It's called the next generation microcharger, and this will allow you to plug in the smaller chargers that come with the newer phones. I think Samsungs have this charger, but for those of us with an iPhone, I'm a big Apple fan, it comes with a little adapter which you can plug into that first and then plug your USB in, so that's fine. Here you've got a little, I don't even know what these are used for anymore. My God, when I was I think 6 or 7, my mum used to put a little fan that she'd have on her window here because the car didn't have air conditioning in our old car when we were younger. But yeah, cigarette lighter, I don't think, it's not even a cigarette, I don't know what it is. I think it's a cigarette lighter, but we don't use them anymore, so forget that. Coming down here, you've got a touchpad which will allow you to control the dash above if you want to. That's just another way of controlling everything above. You've got an exit button there. Button here to scroll through your radio stations if you so want, and a very handy home button. This is also good for if you're on navigation, as you can toggle in by, a bit like on your iPhone screen or on your Samsung screen, just by doing a 2-finger pinch. That'll allow you to go in if you want to. You can see we're in Warrington. We are actually here at the best dealership in the whole wide world. Right, something else excuse me, which is standard on the cars as we're going through the buttons around here. All of the cars, all of the A-Class come with reversing camera. Just see if I can switch this on whilst we're here. Yes, I can. That's our wonderful showroom here, complete with camera equipment and showing you that we have the doors open. So it shows you your vicinity of people around you, if there's anything there, and also a really clear view on your reversing camera. And to activate that, you just put the car into reverse. If you put the car down into drive, it stays on for your parking, and if you put the car into park, it turns off. So that's standard on all the A-Class saloon. Okay, so coming up into the roof, this car doesn't have a panoramic roof. That's where the button would be if it did have a panoramic roof. You've got sunglasses holder, little LED lights, of course, to stay doing your makeup or whatever in the mirror. Reading lights, rear reading lights, lights on and off. That button there will turn off the lights in the car at all, so it's a good safety feature if you don't want to drain the battery. But this is really important, this section here. Now, the SOS button is so important. The car comes with its own SIM card in the bonnet itself. So if for some reason the car was ever involved in an accident, you don't need a phone signal. You can press that button there and it will connect you automatically to the Mercedes-Benz contact centre, who know where your car is because of the positioning of the SIM card, and will be able to help you. And then of course as well, you have Mercedes Me. Now Connect Me, for those of you who don't have this app, download this app on your phone, make sure you speak to your dealer that you bought the car from, get it connected, and you can see your fuel levels on your phone, on your app. You can see when the car needs a service. You can lock and open your car, so it's brilliant. If you ever leave your keys in the car and you lock your keys in, you can unlock it from your app. Really cannot go over how important the Connect Me app is. So something I forgot to show you actually when we were inside, which is really important. So often we get customers coming in and the battery has gone on the key for their car. Now most people tend to have one key which they use and they drive around with. They have it on the key ring, and then the second one they tend to leave at home, and of course the battery can drain. Now in the cup holder, which we'll show you on one of the videos earlier on in the video, there's a little wireless charger in the cup holder. So if you leave your key in the cup holder, it will actually charge your key wirelessly. How fantastic is that? Mercedes really does think about everything. So a couple of things from the inside I just want to go over with you. So inside the boot, press and hold the key here. So got it right again, the bottom button. Inside the boot, the load space on the sedan is absolutely fantastic. For those of you with children, the A-Class sedan really is a fantastic option. This will actually take a twin buggy if you were interested in that at all. So just to go into the boot itself. So Mercedes-Benz has recently patented its own sound system. We used to use different sound systems, which we do still use in our cars, but for the A-Class, it's now designed its own sound system, which you can see the subwoofer for on the boot over there, and that's called the mid-range system. And that's only on the premium pack, so that's on the vehicle. I was just getting some insider knowledge there from my colleagues, if you saw that awful pause. So yeah, you did just notice Rebecca just double checking. But in the back now, you can see the subwoofer there in the boot. So Mercedes-Benz, for the A-Class, has patented its own sound system. Again, such technology, such amazing advances in this car. So into the boot itself, you get your first aid kit as standard, your tyre fit, and your warning triangles. So they're all in the boot. And as I said before, plenty of space in the boot there as well. Now, you may notice that this car is a beautiful colour. This is the Mojave Silver, a brand new colour to the range, absolutely beautiful. Looks like a two-tone paint actually, inside slightly darker. When you get outside, it really reflects the light. And it also comes, this car, with the premium package. Now on the premium package, just to take you back to our wonderful iPad, you get a standard on that, the instrument cluster, the larger instrument cluster, the 64 colour ambient lighting, so I was right, it was 64 colours. You get the mid-range sound system, which I just mentioned to you there, illuminated door sills as you get in and out of the vehicle, keyless entry, and a rear armrest as well. Now, going through the different packages that you can get the executive line, you can get the premium, you can get the premium plus, and then as I was mentioned to you before, it now comes in the A35 and A45, which you can get the premium package on as well. So a feature which isn't on this car unfortunately, but I do want to talk to you about, is the advanced navigation package. Now for only £495 you can have this amazing feature, which actually has a real life camera on the front of the car. You'll actually see it, it's just on the top of the windscreen, just behind the rear view mirror in the glass. And what it is it's an actual camera which turns your sat-nav into real augmented driving sat-nav. So instead of looking at the sat-nav screen and it being like a digital flat screen, it's an actual real-life camera of the driving. Now I did post a video about this about 4 or 5 months ago now, when we first saw it on the A-Class hatchback. But this is an absolutely fantastic option for only £495. If you're really into your gizmos and your gadgets, this I would definitely recommend as a futuristic option on the car. Now what I really would say to you on that is to make sure that you go online and use our app. I know now that so many of our customers are so connected when it comes to researching the car before they come in. Dealerships used to be used for people to come in and find out about the car from us. Customers now come in actually knowing probably just as much, if not more than us, about certain aspects of the car, because we have to learn about all of these different models, whereas you of course learn about the car which you are buying, so you'll probably actually show us up on some occasions knowing a bit more. But I really would encourage you at home, if you're thinking about this car, to go online to our website, inchcapemercedesbenz.co.uk, find your nearest dealer, which of course would be Mercedes-Benz Warrington. Why would you not use this dealer? And then to go online, find your model of choice and have a good browse through the brochures, configure your model online, and then you could be driving home with your very own beautiful Mercedes-Benz A-Class Sedan. Oh yeah. So that's us finished. A lot of information in a very crammed in space there. So if there's any questions that you may have, please just drop me an email. It's rebecca.sides@inchcape.co.uk. There's so many things that I could talk about this car, and the video could be an hour long, at which point everyone will be turning off. So just be sure to get in contact with us. So because we haven't been filming in a while, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell wherever it is to make sure that you know when we're posting our new videos. If you've got any comments, please leave those below and we'll be sure to get back to you. We've got the amazing team at Jackal looking after the channel. We'll be answering all of your questions. Doesn't matter what it is about the car. They've got first-hand knowledge from myself who can help, and of course my amazing team over here. So over and out, and we'll be sure to see you soon with hopefully the new GLB.